Hey everyone, and welcome to Drive Steady. In this video, I'll be comparing the mid-size four-door sedans for the big-name German manufacturers, the BMW 5 Series, Mercedes-Benz E-Class, and the Audi A6. So if you have any questions about which has the most horsepower or which gets the best miles per gallon, or maybe you just want to know which has the most interior room, stick around and I'll tell you. Before getting started, a big thank you to everyone who watches our videos and subscribes to our channel. So here are the topics we'll cover in this video. We'll start out by looking at the trim levels, then move to the engine and transmission. From there, we'll talk about miles per gallon. Then we'll look at the interior and exterior dimensions and cover things like legroom, shoulder room, cargo space, etc. Then we'll close the video off with styling, pricing, and the warranty. BMW, Audi, and Mercedes have long been rivals and competing in this mid-size sedan market for decades now. Starting off in the BMW, the 5 Series first debuted in 1972 and is becoming more and more popular ever since. In fact, many people probably don't know this, but the 5 Series came out prior to the 3 Series. The 3 Series came out in 1975, so the 5 Series is really the bigger brother here, and actually can be argued as the car that started the leap into where BMW is now. In the Mercedes, the E-Class didn't formally debut until the early 90s, but has a long lineage of cars prior to it. Cars like the generation W124 and W123. And finally, the Audi A6. Here's some history I bet not many know. The Audi A6 was originally called the Audi 5000. It wasn't until the 4th generation when Audi started calling it the A6. And ever since then, the A6 has been pretty consistent in design and a proven competitor in this segment. That was a slight history lesson for these three cars. Now let's jump into the comparison, starting out with the trim levels. Here are the trim levels for the Audi A6. Audi breaks it down into three different tiers: Premium, which is the entry level, Premium Plus, and finally the highest tier, Prestige. From there, it's broken down even further into the 45 and 55 models. The main difference between the 45 and the 55 models are the engines. The 45 is equipped with a 4-cylinder and the 55 is equipped with a 6-cylinder. As an added piece of information, no matter which trim or engine option you choose, the A6 comes standard with 4-wheel drive. Moving to the BMW, you have three different trim levels available in 2 and 4-wheel drive. The X-Drive in the BMW model signifies all-wheel drive, and the E in the 530 represents a hybrid platform. Different from Audi, BMW doesn't provide an option to pick engines within the trim levels. You pick a model and you get the engine that's associated with that model. The 530 is equipped with a 4-cylinder, and the 530e is equipped with the same 4-cylinder but supplemented with an electric motor, and finally the 540 has a 6-cylinder engine. And finally, the Mercedes E-Class. The Mercedes path to trim levels is similar to BMW's. They narrow it down by trim, and within those trim levels, the engine is fixed, as in you don't get an option, unlike the Audi A6, which provides you with two different engine options within the trim levels. Again, the Mercedes also offers 4-wheel drive, represented by the 4MATIC models, and similar to the A6 and 5 Series, the E-Class distinguishes the E350 and the E450 by 4-cylinder and 6-cylinder engines respectively. So now that we've identified the models and the trim levels, let's pick the ones we're going to compare in this video. I'll be taking the base level trim for each one of these cars. In the BMW, it's the 530i. In the Audi, the premium trim with the 45 engine. And finally, in the Mercedes, the E350. Now that we've got the models, let's jump into the comparison. Let's jump into the numbers, starting off with the engines. In the Audi, the A6 is equipped with a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine with 248 horsepower and 273 foot-pounds of torque. The Audi A6 is mated to a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission with paddle shifters. In the BMW 530, again a similar 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine with 248 horsepower and 258 foot-pounds of torque. The BMW 530 is mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission with paddle shifters. Now to the Mercedes. In the E350 for the 2020 model year, the base engine level got a bump in horsepower. While the 2019 model made 241, in the 2020 model, the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine makes 255 horsepower and 273 pounds-feet of torque. The Mercedes E350 is mated to a 9-speed automatic with paddle shifters. One thing to point out here is that the Audi has a dual clutch transmission versus the traditional automatics in the BMW and the Mercedes. There will be a difference in feel here. Typically, cars with dual clutch transmissions are a little bit more sporty. Just keep that in mind. So looking at the numbers, the Mercedes E350 has the most horsepower and torque in the group. It bests the BMW 530 and Audi A6 by 7 horsepower and matches the Audi with 273 foot-pounds of torque, but 15 pounds-feet more than the BMW. We just looked at the engines and the transmissions, so now let's look at how that translates to acceleration. In the Audi A6, 6.1 seconds to 60, in the BMW 5.9 seconds, and in the Mercedes a similar 6.1 seconds. The numbers here in the acceleration department are very close. The A6, the 530, and the E350 are all within a couple ticks of each other. However, the BMW does best the Audi and the Mercedes by coming in at 5.9 seconds. Given that these cars are mid-size 4-door sedans, acceleration isn't really their forte. However, given that these cars have a decent amount of low-end torque, taking off from a stoplight or merging onto a highway shouldn't be an issue. Alright, now let's look at the weight quickly before moving into fuel efficiency, because weight directly impacts your fuel efficiency significantly. In the Audi A6, the weight comes in at 4,101 pounds. In the BMW 530, 3,713 pounds. The Mercedes E350, 3,935 pounds. Looking at these numbers, the BMW is much lighter than the A6 and the E350. Comparing the three, the BMW is 388 pounds lighter than the Audi A6 and 228 pounds versus the Mercedes E350. I'm not surprised the BMW is the lightest in this group because they've made an increased effort in reducing the weight of their cars in the name of efficiency. It's actually remarkable that a mid-size 4-door luxury sedan weighs only 3,700 pounds. There are some sports cars out there that weigh about the same or even a little bit more. Anyway, speaking of efficiency in the BMW, let's see if it translates to fuel efficiency in the next category, miles per gallon. Miles per gallon hasn't been as hot of a topic recently now that everybody talks about range with electric cars, but these are gas-powered cars, so let's compare miles per gallon. In the Audi A6, 24 in the city, 32 in the highway for a combined average of 27 miles per gallon. In the BMW, 25 in the city, 33 in the highway for a combined average of 28. And the Mercedes E350, 23 in the city, 32 in the highway for a combined average of 26. The Audi has a fuel tank of 19.3 gallons, the BMW 18 gallons, and the Mercedes E350 17.4. Just as we suspected from the previous category, the BMW 530 comes in with the best fuel economy. It bests the Audi by 1 miles per gallon in all categories and 2 miles per gallon against the Mercedes. Couple interesting items here. The Audi has the biggest fuel tank of the group, coming in 1.3 gallons more than the BMW 530 and almost 2 gallons more than the Mercedes E350. One thing I like to do with this is calculate how much it'll cost to fill up your gas tank. For this calculation, I'm going to use the national average of fuel as of today, which is $2.58 per gallon. If you take $2.53 and multiply that by the fuel tank size, in the Audi A6 you get $49.79, the BMW 530i $46.44, and in the Mercedes E350 $44.89. So there you have it. The Audi will cost you the most to fill up the tank, but it'll probably have the most range in the group. The Mercedes E350 tackles coming in last with miles per gallon by being the cheapest to fill up. So now let's start looking at the interior for these three cars. All three have seating capacity for 5 people. Here's the chart showing the front and rear headroom, legroom, and shoulder room. It's somewhat of a mixed bag here, with each car taking a category or two. The Audi bests the Mercedes and the BMW in one category, rear legroom, by a full 2 inches. In the BMW, it has the most front headroom and shoulder room. And in the Mercedes, it has the most rear headroom and front and rear shoulder room. If I had to break it down, I would say the BMW is going to offer the most space for the driver and front passenger. If you want the most space for your passengers in the rear, the Mercedes E350 is probably the best bet. Unless your passengers are really tall, then the best choice is probably going to be the Audi A6. Alright, now let's look at cargo space. In the Audi, the trunk cargo area measures 13.7 cubic feet. In the BMW 530i, 14.5 cubic feet. But BMW also provides a maximum cargo capacity coming in at 18.7. My assumption is that this is with the rear seats folded down. It's actually strange because I couldn't find the maximum cargo capacity from Audi or Mercedes, and BMW is really the only one that reported it. Anyway, rounding out the group is the Mercedes E350 with 13.1 cubic feet of cargo space. I always like to use carry-on bags to provide reference in this category. A standard carry-on bag takes up 1.43 cubic feet of cargo space. That means you'll be able to fit 9.5 carry-on bags in the Audi A6, 10.1 in the BMW 530i, and 9.1 in the Mercedes E350. Alright, so now let's move to the exterior of these cars. Here are the exterior dimensions for the A6, the 530, and the E350. The overall footprint of the BMW 530i is the largest as it's longer and taller than both the A6 and the E350. The Audi A6 is narrowly wider than the BMW is. One item I wanted to point out here is the length of the wheelbase. This is the measurement between the front and the rear wheels. In the BMW, it's a full 2 inches longer than the Audi and almost the same for the Mercedes. Typically, a car with a longer wheelbase rides smoother and feels a little bit more stable at high speeds. Alright, next let's move on to the pricing category. The Audi A6 comes in at $55,895, including destination and handling. The BMW 530i, $54,895, again including destination and handling. Mercedes E350, $55,045, again destination and handling included. Oddly, the BMW comes in the cheapest car, followed by the Mercedes and then the Audi A6. I would have thought that the Audi for sure would have been the cheapest car in this group, but it's not. It's the most expensive. The difference between the 530i and the Mercedes E350 comes in at a narrow $150 and $1,000 for the Audi A6. The margin is pretty thin between the E350 and the BMW 530i, but it stretches to a noticeable amount against the A6. Now let's move on to the next topic. These being German cars, they're notorious for being unreliable, so let's look at the warranty. The Audi A6, BMW 530i, and the Mercedes E350 all offer the same standard 4-year, 50,000 mile, whichever comes first, warranty across the board. One of the nice things here is that BMW includes maintenance costs in the price of the car. Things like oil changes, brake fluids, etc. are all included, while Mercedes and Audi require you to pay an additional cost for those services. And the last category I'd like to talk about are the colors. The Audi offers 10 different colors in the A6. It's a nice spectrum. Of course, you have the standard white, black, silver, and gray. Then you have a dark red and a blue, and my personal favorite, Avalon green. I really like green colors on cars, and I think the A6 pulls it off really well. The BMW offers 14 colors in the 530i, which is excellent. The colors aren't the best, but at least you have some options to choose from. You have the standard white, black, silver, gray. Then BMW offers a couple premium blue colors and then a couple interesting high-end options like champagne, azurite black, and a really cool looking silver metallic. Now in the Mercedes, the E350 is offered in 9 different colors. Again, standard white, black, silver, gray, but Mercedes also includes a couple special colors from its Designo line, such as red, diamond white, and even a matte gray color. Overall, my favorite color from all of these cars is the Avalon green in the Audi A6. Alright, so that's the end of the comparison. Let's tally everything up and close the video out with some final thoughts. In the horsepower and torque, the Mercedes bests the Audi and the BMW. Acceleration, BMW 530. Weight, BMW. Miles per gallon, BMW. Interior, BMW for the front passengers, Mercedes for the rear passengers. Pricing, BMW comes in the cheapest. Warranty, even though all of these cars offer the same warranty, I'm giving this category to the BMW because of the included maintenance. And finally, the color goes to the Audi. The Audi A6, BMW 5 Series, and Mercedes E-Class sedans are the bread and butter luxury cars for these manufacturers. They offer high-end luxury and refinement, cutting-edge technology, and even some sportiness in the driving experience. Even though the numbers may say the BMW wins on paper, however, buying a car is highly subjective and dependent on how you feel behind the wheel. That's something you'll have to find out for yourself. If I had to choose, I would take the Audi A6 because it's the most out of the ordinary looking of the three. Typically, I lean more towards BMW design, but the 5 Series styling looks bland and ordinary, even though it's fairly new. The Mercedes has been out for a couple years now, and even though it looks good, I still like the look of an Avalon green Audi A6 over it. Which one would you choose? If you're interested in other comparisons like this one, check out our channel page for more videos and car reviews. Thanks for watching. Until next time, drive steady.